Welcome to Sacred Earth Journey Roundtable. As we journey across America, the Southern Corridor, this is the premier journey across America. So far it's a hit and it's going well. I'm not super exhausted, but I'm kind of, today was a wonky day. The time change threw me off, the humidity sucks, but whatever. And St. Augustine, you didn't show up so great. You could be a little bit nicer, but that's okay. We are recording today from all things chocolate and more in Rinkin, Missouri. No, Georgia. I'm at Rinkin, Georgia. They have 3 locations. This is why I keep trying to say Richmond. They have 3 locations: Richmond Hill, Savannah, and Rinkin, which is where we are today. And Sarah and Armando have been absolutely wonderful. This is literally heaven on earth. You can have it's going to be backwards. You can have cappuccino or your coffee. What did you get? What's your coffee?
Chocolate and coffee.
Chocolate and coffee.
The magic combination.
You can have all kinds of chocolate treats. They make other sandwiches, and then of course the coffees. It's literally heaven on earth.
New Orleans, oddly enough, is the second place I'm considering to move to.
New Orleans is so rad.
The Monteleone is my second home.
It is so rad. New Orleans is the funnest. It is so fun. I had so much fun in New Orleans. My family's from there. They live in Slidell and Charlotte. Yeah.
Well, Jerry Lee Lewis is from Faraday, Louisiana. And I've spent a lot of time down in New Orleans because I know all the people in the music business down there.
Okay.
Well, it used to be like Alan Toussaint had a studio down there. It's where Paul McCartney did Venus and Mars. And I used to spend a lot of time down in New Orleans. And when I get a certain kind of hungry, I go to New Orleans and eat my way through the Cajun prairies.
This is what so we're back. So all things chocolate and more, you got to come because it's heaven on earth for your chocolates, your coffees, your sandwiches, and all the things. If you haven't figured it out by now, Sacred Earth Journey rolls very unscripted, organic, and casual. So as we're talking about New Orleans, and I'm going to go ahead, I'll introduce the guest here in just a second. You'll have to figure out, I'm going to give you a few minutes to see if you can figure out who's sitting next to me. If you can figure out who's sitting next to me, I don't know how I'm going to make this work. Because by the time it rolls, you're going to see the name and then it's not going to work.
You can come here and redeem it for a free coffee.
On this person right here. I'm not revealing the name yet. So when I was in New Orleans and I was out on Canal Street, Tree, he goes by Tree. Yeah. He's a pedicab driver. And he was talking to me about the food and all the things, and so was his partner Paul. And everything's fried. This is Paula Dean. You go to Paula Dean's place, right? And it's like fried cornbread. What can you not fry? I don't eat fried food. But going to New Orleans, you're talking about a special kind of hunger. The food is delicious, but it's so bad for you. What is your favorite food when you go to New Orleans?
Crawfish etouffee, only because you can't find it anywhere else.
Come on, yeah. I make it.
Really good red beans and rice.
Okay.
Because it's special down there.
Yeah.
But the thing I love most about that part of the world is every weekend there's a food festival somewhere.
You're not wrong.
And so there's always a celebration somewhere. Yeah. And I like to go throughout the Cajun prairies, Breaux Bridge, and
I stopped in Breaux Bridge by not even intending to.
Right.
It was fun.
You just follow the crowd.
It was so fun.
Mamu, where the Playboys, one night, the Mamu Playboys were playing a dance in a real honest-to-God barn. It didn't start until midnight.
Did it have a dirt floor?
Yes.
So the people I had on the show, they were telling me about this dirt floor, and they were telling me I needed to go.
Okay, so at the end of the night, the show was over at dawn. We walk out. I'm trying to get to my car, and I had to wait 30 minutes because between me and my car was a 20-foot-long alligator.
Oh, I saw some alligators while I was there.
That is Mamu.
Mamu. So, who are you?
I forget.
No.
My name is Murray Silver Jr. Not to be confused with the lawyer who passed a couple of years ago. I am the author and the filmmaker, the candidate for mayor of Savannah, and will be again next year. I've done a lot of different things in life, but I'm a Savannah boy, Savannah born, Savannah bred, and when I die, I'll be Savannah dead.
Okay. And then, so the Murray Silver Sr. is what's special about him? I mean, besides being your father.
My father was Martin Luther King's lawyer.
Okay.
And there's a book written about my dad called Daddy, King, and Me. He had a unique relationship with Martin's father. And my father, at the end of his life, after he retired, instead of writing a memoir, he said, there's only one thing I want people to remember me for, and that was my relationship with Daddy King. And so that book was published a few years ago by Continental Shelf. My father, the only thing he wanted people to remember him for was his unique relationship with Martin Luther King Sr. The book Daddy King and Me tells that story. And you know, as much as people think they know about Martin Luther King, there's a lot of things that they don't remember or didn't know. For example, Martin's brother was murdered. Martin's mother was murdered.
I did not know this.
Well, there you are.
I don't know a lot though, so that's not a good litmus test.
But by being the King family lawyer, my father was part of all of those chapters in their lives. And so when I was growing up, I worked in my father's law firm. And
doing what?
I was going to law school, but I got a better education from him.
Yeah.
And so I was his Batman, his gopher, his chauffeur, ran all of his errands.
Okay.
But I got a better education working with my father because of his clientele. My father not only represented the Kings, my father was campaign finance chairman for Andy Young in all the campaigns that he ran and won. My father was also the consigliere for a lot of made guys in the mafia, including Carmine Persico.
I know nothing. I absolutely know nothing.
My father represented some very bad dudes, and so I realized that I was getting a much better education at his hands than in law school.
Yeah.
However, follow me now, I never practiced law. Here's the reason why. My senior year of law school, I met the child bride of Jerry Lee Lewis. Jerry Lee Lewis, the rock and roll star of the 50s, whose career was destroyed when he married his 13-year-old cousin, 1957. I met her one night. They were now divorced. She was living in seclusion in Stone Mountain, Georgia.
Wow.
And I said, you know, you would make a terrific Where Are They Now kind of story for like People magazine. And she said, well, that might be fun. And I began to interview Myra Lewis, and that interview turned into the book Great Balls of Fire, which turned into the movie that starred Dennis Quaid and Winona Ryder, and I never went back to the practice of law.
I can see why this is way more interesting.
I told my father, said, I would much rather write books and make movies than do what you do.
Yeah.
And so my father said, I don't blame you. So I never went back to the law.
Wow. So I originally invited you on the show to talk about the culture of Savannah, but clearly you could represent and talk about so many different cultures.
Oh yeah.
And we don't really ask one individual to represent an entire culture group because that's just not fair. We want to be good cultural stewards. You can only share your perspective and your experiences,
right.
And this is all we ask, right? So let's start first because there are so many. We could almost turn this into like 3 episodes. You were born in Savannah.
Yes.
And you moved back, and then you moved away. You came back.
Right.
Talk first about just like, because there are people who have ideas of what Savannahians, is that what you call them?
Yes.
People have ideas of what Savannahians are. There are things, like I remember, what was it? Not Golden Girls, the Designing Women, I think, was filmed. You've got Forrest Gump that was filmed here. There are so many outlets that can influence what outsiders think of Savannahians. What is one of the biggest misconceptions that people have about Savannah culture?
The Savannah of today is not the Savannah that people are coming to find. That hasn't existed for 20 years.
Oh.
Now, what most people have a hard time understanding is, First of all, it's a town of less than 150,000 people. 65% are black. And of that 65%, more than half of them live at or below the poverty level.
Wow, of the black community?
Yes.
Okay. Still
And
today.
so, yeah, and the other deceptive thing about Savannah is what it's celebrated for is the historic district, which is 2 square miles. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's 2 square miles, and it's known for its squares. They're equidistant. And so that is what people come here to see. But that is quickly being eroded by the wholesale destruction of the historic district through renovation and remodeling. And it is because now, for the first time in our 250-year history, the land beneath these historic buildings is now worth more than the buildings are. And the buildings are no longer being protected.
Wow.
We're now tearing them down in the name of density. We're now tearing down these beautiful buildings to build 3- and 4-story high human storage containers. And as you drive around the historic district now, you see we are dismantling that which earned our historic district designation. I believe we were going to lose it very soon.
Wow. I think you are absolutely going to love New Orleans if you choose to relocate there, because this is something they were sharing with me. And I grew up going to the quarter and all the things. One of the things, they won't touch, like if the oak trees, they have lots of oak trees in the quarter and all over New Orleans. When they grow big, the roots grow big too, and they start uplifting the sidewalks and things like this. They actually do not cut the oak trees down, and they don't really repair the sidewalks either, because it's part of the character and the history and the charm. The buildings down in the quarter, they on the outside, like they're not renovating them, they're not changing the exterior, because they are wanting so much to preserve the historic beauty of what the French Quarter is. And many of these places, from the outside looking in, you would think they're just like shitholes, and they're like $2 and $4 million condominiums and things that are, they are absolutely preserving. So I think you would like New Orleans for this reason. That's really sad to hear. I think it's difficult to transition, while preserving the history and then transitioning and growing with the times.
There you are.
Yeah.
The sad story about Savannah is it is an 18th century village that is being dragged into the 21st century.
Yeah.
By that I mean it has long since ceased to serve its original purpose. Savannah was invented and designed to be the outer ring of defense for Charleston, to keep the Spanish down in Florida 90 miles away.
Yeah.
Those squares were originally designed to become barricaded fortresses in times of trouble, because it was designed by a general in the British Army, whose job was to defend South Carolina. Well, that ceased a long time ago. The problem is this, follow me now. Savannah, in preserving its historic district, you're literally freezing it in time. And so when you do this, you also freeze other parts of the city. Now, what most people don't understand is Savannah's historic district is lily white.
Okay.
And that 65% of its population lives outside of the historic district, on the outsides of what is called the broad streets.
Yeah.
We were originally bounded by East Broad, West Broad, and South Broad, which is now Oglethorpe. And black people were made to live outside of the broad streets, and in the daytime they would come into the historic district for their jobs. They would go home at night unless they lived in what was then known as slave quarters or in the house. But the point I'm making to you is the historic district has always been lily white, and that's where the money is. So if you're going to freeze that, that means there's other parts of town that are also frozen. And I can take and show you on the west side, there are black people living in the same conditions of their great-great-grandparents, and it's never improved. So now, we've had now 4 black mayors. And what Black Savannah has had to do is find a way to make their way into the historic district where the money is. They don't own any land there or any businesses.
Still.
So now what they have done now is they've decided, well, the only way we can do this is to strike those laws on the books that protect these buildings. We're going to start knocking them down. And
Wow,
in,
so
and in
this
doing
is just
so,
really like a, wow.
so what they're doing now, the shocking thing that tourists are noticing now, is that Savannah is being turned into what's called a 15-minute city. It's part of a nationwide thing that you can go and find online. It's a list of 100 cities that are being turned into what they call 15-minute cities, meaning you'll be able to live anywhere in the city limits, get anywhere you need to go within 15 minutes by public transportation.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
what they're going to do is they're going to outlaw the ownership of automobiles in the city.
Okay,
In
yeah.
the city, you're going to have to rely on public transportation. And in the name of density, as I say, they're knocking down the old to build these new apartment buildings. And literally, Savannah, Georgia will look nothing like itself in the next couple of years.
Wow. So, yeah, I remember living here when we were stationed on the East Coast, and I remember very clearly, much like New Orleans, you will have, and there are other cities in the country that are like this, where like, you know, you're driving and things look one way, and then you turn the corner and things look a completely different way. And one of the questions I asked on my personal Facebook page, it was a few weeks ago, I asked, do you believe racism still exists today? And the answers, the responses I got were incredibly telling. Because you had some people who said, no, racism is gone, it's over, that it does not exist anymore. And then you had others that were like, 100% it does, in all different ways. And then there were those in the middle that were just kind of clueless either way, right? I'm not sure. Anyway, what would you say? Because I know that like while I was here, we experienced the evidence of racism in two directions. I remember being in a gym, and it was in Savannah, downtown Savannah. I'm not going to name it, except that it was very close to a golf lodge that was still male only at the time, and also still white, only white at the time. This would have been between 2004 and 2009 or so. I remember being in the gym, and these elderly white women very openly would use the N-word. And I remember there being a young black lady who was working out close to me, and I just remember, and my oldest daughter is biracial, grandchildren are biracial, and I just remember how infuriated I felt, that, and shocked, because like I didn't experience this where I grew up. And I was like, what is happening right now? In the reverse, I also experienced the reverse of that when I would be in areas that were predominantly black, and understandably so. I'm entering a territory, an area where it's just, you know, this was how it was, and things were said to me that I was shocked. I was like, what is going on? And this is when I realized, wow, racism is alive and well. And this was during that time frame. I've seen it in Missouri. I've seen it in Arkansas. Today, 2026, do you still see the remnants, or do you still see present racism? Is it like, what's the atmosphere like?
Well, mine is a unique perspective because you're talking to a man who ran for mayor of Savannah in 2015.
Yeah.
I ran against Savannah's first black woman mayor. Automatically, I'm branded a racist.
Yeah.
Forget the fact that my father was Martin's lawyer. That's a racist. That's a cracker. So it was phenomenal to me that even the black people of this town, who are high-minded people who knew the truth, none of them came to my defense except for one. And it was shocking to me. But here's something else that Savannah had forgotten. In 1959, my father was disbarred from the practice of law in Savannah, Georgia, for daring to represent poor black people for crime.
Wow.
They took his license and ran us out of town.
Wow.
And the judge who oversaw this lynching told my father, "You want your license back?" you're going to have to get a petition signed by every person licensed to practice law in Chatham County, whether they're active or inactive, whether they live here or anywhere in the continental United States. And it took my father 5 years to get the last signature. And when he got his signature and was reinstated, he took us down to Brunswick, Georgia, and went right back to doing what he was doing because they told him in Savannah, and it was the Irish and it was the Jews, of which we were both.
Yeah.
My family is half of it's Irish Catholic, the other half is German and Russian Jews. But it was the Irish and the Jews that had betrayed. My father said, listen, we're trying to keep the black people in jail. You keep letting them out again.
Wow.
And we want you to stop it.
Wow.
So the bottom line is that black Savannah had forgotten what my father had done for them.
Yeah.
My father was one of the very first white lawyers in the United States. And if you think I'm lying to you, go on right now, ladies and gentlemen, go online and look up the State versus Robert Felton Moore, 1966, down in South Georgia, Woodbine, St. Mary's. A black man was on trial for the murder of two prominent white men. My father was the only lawyer who would take the case.
Wow.
And he took it all the way to the Court of Appeals of the United States and won it.
Wow.
On the grounds that the police had beaten a confession out of the man at a time when it was perfectly legal for the police to do that. Wow. My father was the lawyer in '66, and Savannah, Georgia had forgotten that and branded me a racist because I would dare run in a town that is predominantly black.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I ran for mayor because nobody else wanted the job. Nobody else in Savannah, Georgia wanted the job.
Yeah.
And I thought that Edna Jackson, as wonderful as a person as she is and was, I thought that Edna was not doing the job.
Yeah.
And there was no one to demand that she stand and deliver and be accountable for her record. Yeah. And I thought, well, if nothing else, I think Savannah deserves that. And all I can tell you is my life was threatened. There were people trying to kill me.
Wow.
Simply because I stood up for Savannah and said, listen, I'm the last man standing. You want to push the reset button? Push it.
Was any of your campaign, did any of your campaign contain any kind of racial rhetoric or anything?
Let me tell you something. When I tried to remind Savannah of what my family and what I had done, because I used to work for business. Listen, I want you to understand something. After Martin Luther King was murdered, my father is the man who helped Coretta Scott King build the King Center in Atlanta, Georgia. Mm-hmm. And you know how we did it? He and I promoted concerts to raise the money to build the King Center. My father was the only white face on the original board of directors of the King Center. And I used to write speeches for Mrs. King. Yeah. And then when she handed off the center to her son Dexter, I was Dexter's chief of staff.
Did you and your father, did you receive any negative feedback or?
Nobody liked what I was doing.
Yeah.
Nobody liked what I was doing.
I mean, I could see, clearly we can see and feel the emotion coming from you now. I could see how frustrated you would be with your history, your father's history, and then you're running for mayor of Savannah, and then this is the reaction you get. I mean, I can understand where that frustration would come from. So when you would speak up and share about who you are and who your father was in the history, I mean, did anybody
They called me a liar.
Really?
Edna Jackson told everyone, that's none of that's true. He ain't all that. Well, I point to the book Daddy King and Me as proof. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing that used to gall the hell out of them. When I got married in 1979, do you know who presided over the wedding? Martin Luther King Sr. And Coretta and her children were there. Why? Yeah. Because the Kings and the Silvers were not only together, we were dear personal friends. When we found out that my mother and Coretta had the same birthday, April 27th, we had a joint birthday party for both women. And if you pick up that book, Daddy King and Me, you'll see a picture of my mama blowing out the candles on the same birthday cake with Coretta Scott King.
Wow.
And when the black Savannah saw that, they lost their minds.
Wow.
Because they hated it that I could say that, and they couldn't.
Yeah.
Because listen, Coretta Scott King was at my wedding. She wasn't at Edna's.
Yeah.
And it galled the hell out of them that a white boy from Savannah would have that sort of close personal relationship with the King family and with Andy Young. They hated me for it.
Yeah.
And all I can tell you is, if we're all supposed to be getting along and kumbaya, why am I singled out for having done all this stuff and hated for it? Well, I'll tell you why. Because Savannah is a very small town that has been run by small minds. And the black community, God love them, has always been disenfranchised. And I feel for them, which is why I wanted to be the mayor to represent black and white, rich and poor, old and new, to be that bridge to bring them together. And they didn't want to be brought together. The blacks said, no, it's our time now. It's our time. You seen your last white mayor. It's our time. And I thought, well, okay, fine. Now, you know what happened? White Savannah packed up and left. That downtown, that historic district we're talking about?
Yeah.
All of the old Savannah families, the blue bloods, the money, they packed up and they sold out and they moved outside of the city limits. And if I had $1 for every person who said to me when I was running, Murray, I'd vote for you, I can't because I no longer live in Savannah. I would be a millionaire.
Yeah.
And so white Savannah got up and moved outside of the city limits, but still through social media wanted to tell us how to run the town. They moved to Richmond Hill, they moved to Bluffton, they moved to Pooler, they moved to the beach, but they got out of Savannah.
Yeah. What do you think, what do you think is the fix? I mean, we're getting there, we're making progress, but what do you think is one thing, specifically in this region, in Savannah, what do you think is one thing that could maybe help bridge the gap and bring some peace between the communities?
The problem that we have right now is that crime is once again out of control. Here's the thing now, follow me now. Our city council is 8 aldermen and 1 mayor. The mayor is black, he's from New York. You've got 6 black aldermen, you've got 2 white aldermen, and these 2 white men are not from here.
Okay, so you have 3 who are not from Savannah.
So you don't have Savannahians running Savannah anymore.
Okay.
And you've got 6 black, 2 white. So white Savannah is now the ones who are disenfranchised. You've got a black police force, and the problem in crime is black, and black on black. And so the problem we're having right now is white Savannah say, look, we rely on 14 million tourists coming through every year, a $4 billion industry, and it sounds like it'll be safe, they're not going to come. And in order to try to convince the white Savannah that we're safe, what this administration has done is they went through the code, the criminal code. They downgraded every offense, downgraded them, and then stopped prosecuting the lesser offenses so they could show you the numbers and say, oh, look, crime has been reduced.
Excuse me, I have a problem with spitting, in case you haven't figured that out. Is there evidence that this took place?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go back and see where they changed the record, where they changed the laws and changed the enforcement of the laws. And they did it so they could say, oh, well, you see, the crime has been reduced. And they didn't reduce the crime, they just reduced the charges and then stopped prosecuting the lower ones. But here's the thing you can't change. We've had a shooting, 2 and 3 shootings a day for the last several days.
Really?
It's the headline news.
Wow.
And right now, this administration is having to admit for the very first time that we have a gang problem in Savannah. But do you know who one of the first people publicly to raise that issue was, that Savannah had a gang problem? It was a mayoral candidate in 2015 named Murray Silver, who told Savannah, we have a gang problem, and black Savannah said, you're a liar and you're crazy. And now, 10 years later, they're having to say, actually, he's neither. He's right. We just didn't want to admit it.
How does it make you feel when people who don't know you make these assumptions and judgments about you?
Listen, this isn't my first rodeo. All my life, I have always been the champion for the underdog. Whether it was Jerry Lee Lewis, whether it was the Dalai Lama, who I worked for a very long time. Whether it was Martin Luther King, this is my lot in life. This is what I do. And so the way I'm treated, I don't care what people think of me. I have nothing. I can't control what other people think.
Yeah.
I'm just sorry they think that way. But the point about Savannah is, it's a small town, and in small towns, this is what you'll find: there's not enough money or spotlight to go around, and for people to get their share, they've got to take it from somebody else.
Okay.
And so here I come back to Savannah. I'm the author of an international bestseller made into a major motion picture.
Which is,
and I've done all
reiterate that.
Great Balls of Fire about Jerry Lee Lewis. I've done all of these wonderful things. I'd worked for the Dalai Lama. I'd worked for Martin Luther King. And the people in Savannah said, oh, well, okay. And the first thing they had to do was they had to disregard it, downplay it, and at a certain point, they tried to take what they could, borrow what they could, or copy what they could. That's Savannah. And you want to, the clearest, most recent case of this is what happened to Paula Deen. Paula Deen started out, her husband had left her with 2 small boys. She didn't have $200 in the bank. And she began to try to turn $1 into 2 by having her sons sell sack lunches to tourists in the squares. And she opened up a little restaurant. And all of a sudden she's discovered by the food critic of USA Today. And she looks around and she sees there's a line out the door of her restaurant. She was serving 1,500 people a day.
Yeah.
She had 2 restaurants, TV show, cookbooks, millions in sponsorships, and Paula Deen was huge.
Yeah.
People would come to town just to eat chicken at Paula Deen's.
Yeah.
And then Paula Deen said she said a bad word. Paula said nigger once. And all of a sudden, everybody said, oh. And Savannah used that as a reason to say, Paula Deen, Paula Deen. And the next thing you know, she loses her restaurants, she loses her contracts, she loses her TV show, she loses $50 million, all because that's what Savannah found in order to, because Savannah's going to decide when you've had enough. When you've had enough, you've had enough, because now you got my share. And this is what a small town does. There's not enough money, a spotlight to go around, and if you're getting too much, we won't cut you off. They did it to my father. They did it to me. They did it to Paula Deen. They'll keep on doing it. Why? Because it's still a town of 148,000 people.
So even with some of these negative connotations,
Yeah.
what would you say, because we're going to do a hard shift now, what would you say is your favorite thing about being a part of this community?
Well, my family's been here 7 generations. And that means something to me.
Yeah.
It means something to me that my grandfather at one point in time was not only a bootlegger, he's in the Prohibition Museum downtown. He was
cool.
a bookie, and for 40 years he ran a bar in downtown Savannah, Georgia. That was the place where everybody went. It's called Bo Peep's.
Is it still in existence?
No,
Okay.
because when he too was destroyed by the city, committed suicide
Oh, wow. I'm so
in
sorry.
1963.
Wow.
Because Savannah decided, oh, you know what? You've had enough. So you know what they did? They trumped up some charges and they sent him to prison. They took everything he had. They destroyed the man, and the man came home and finished the job he destroyed himself.
Wow.
And when he lost the business, he lost the building. When they tore the building down, follow me now, when they tore the building down on Congress and Drayton, it became a vacant lot.
Is that River Street?
No,
or
no,
is
it's
that before
just a couple of blocks
Yeah,
from
okay.
River Street.
Yeah.
But that is still to this day a vacant lot because my grandfather put a curse on it. He said no one will ever come onto this property and run a going concern
Wow.
again. And it is now the single most valuable vacant lot in all of Savannah, Georgia.
Really?
Now, here's the thing. My grandfather, because he was a bookie, made so much cash money that he was paying off the mayor, the police chief, and the city managers, and he then established the soup kitchen that is still in existence today to feed the poor.
Wow.
And the poor people of Savannah remembered that man because on holidays and seemingly all times in between, they would line up in Congress Lane and back of his restaurant, and he would give them free baskets of food.
Wow.
He hired black people. He hired Greeks. My grandfather did all of that, and Savannah at a certain point said,
Wow.
you had enough.
Yeah.
They set him up, they sent him to prison. And when he got back, he had lost everything, and he went across the street into what was the John Wesley Hotel. Now the plan was in, and he committed suicide.
Wow.
1963.
So back to the positive though. So you have a family history here, and this is home. Yeah.
This is home
Yeah.
for both my mother's family and my father's family. And I understand Savannah. Savannah understands me. That doesn't mean we always like each other.
Sure.
This is a tough town. It always has been. It's a cracker town. And it's,
What do you mean by that?
well, you know what crackers are, don't you?
Yeah. But just in case someone doesn't, let's not assume.
Crackers are what, 100 years ago, this is what they called, originally, it was the man who had a bullwhip that used to, snap it to get mules and horses to do their work. They were called crackers. That's what black people started calling poor whites, was crackers. And so crackers are like me, they're loudmouth white boys from the South. However, I have a few dollars, so I'm not a saltine cracker, I'm an aristocracker.
Okay.
So here's the thing.
People are either going to love this episode or absolutely hate it.
I don't care. Because I cannot be anything but me, and I come by it honestly, and I wish I could change it, but I can't. But the thing is this.
Yeah.
I wrote a book of true short stories about all of the colorful characters that made this town an interesting place to live in the past 100 years. It's called Behind the Moss Curtain. And some of the stories are about my grandfather, Bo Peep. But there's stuff in here that'll blow your mind. For example, did you know that the greatest baseball player that ever lived, Shoeless Joe Jackson, began his pro career in Savannah, Georgia?
Oh yes, I do remember learning.
Well, I'm the guy who got Shoeless Joe Jackson in the Savannah Sports Hall of Fame because Savannah had forgotten that until I reminded them. Why did Savannah forget? Because Savannah was embarrassed about Shoeless Joe when he got tied up in the Black Sox scandal. Savannah does that.
Yeah.
Savannah's very quick to celebrate you on your way up. But once you get there, they love to tear you down. Whether you Paula Dean, Murray Silver, Shoeless Joe Jackson, that's Savannah, Georgia. We set them up just to knock them down.
So you really have a love-hate relationship with Savannah, Georgia.
I do, because I want it to change. I want Savannah to grow the hell up.
Yeah.
And do more like what Atlanta did. Because my father and I, we left here, we went to, and we pulled it off in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Atlanta has succeeded in ways that Savannah continues to fail.
So what do you think is different about the culture in Atlanta versus the culture here? What's the biggest difference?
I'll tell you one. We don't have any colleges here, except for the Savannah College of Art and Design, which attracts students from around the world, but nobody from Savannah. Especially, it's extremely expensive. We have a junior college here. So that meant if you've got any brains or any money, when you graduate high school in Savannah, you've got to go away to college.
Yeah.
And typically you don't come back here unless you inherit a family business. Now, I'm 72. I graduated from high school in 71. If I was to hold a high school reunion today in Savannah, Georgia, there wouldn't be 6 people there because we're all gone or we're dead.
Yeah.
We went to Atlanta. We went to Atlanta to make money.
Yeah.
Because in the 60s and 70s, in this cracker town, you couldn't make any money. It's still a tough town to make money in.
I do remember, when we were stationed here, I do remember I would always call it blue blood. I would call it and there was another term, I can't remember what it was. It was a very connected town. You needed to either be related to someone, or have inherited it, or somehow you were in good with someone. And like you said, that could flip very quickly. The politics here, oh my God, the politics here even then was just very cutthroat, and you could have a best friend one minute and the next minute if something turns, they're your worst enemy. And I do remember this about the politics in Savannah. But so do you feel like if there was a university, like a solid university that was raised up here, do you think that would make much of a difference?
Well, you would keep your young people here.
Yeah.
If all of your late teens and people in their 20s are gone, because that's where change is. I mean,
Sure.
that's where that next generation that is coming to power. Because you got to remember now, the baby boomers, we are one and done. We are now in our 70s, in our 80s. We're moving off. All we can be now are wisdom keepers. The reason I run for mayor, I'm at the time of life, I've done what I came here to do for me and my family. And at this point in my life, there's nothing left for me to do but to share what little I know and what little I have, and to be of service to help other people find fulfillment. I've got the time to be mayor. A lot of other people who could be, and even better at it than me, tell me, I ain't got the time for it. I don't want to do it. I think you're crazy if you want to. My point is, this is what you do when you're in your 70s and you still have your wits about you. You want to take care of things until this younger generation comes along and says, okay, we're ready.
Yeah.
So that's why you want to keep your younger people in Savannah, Georgia, and we don't. They're all gone.
What piece of advice would you give to the younger generation of Savannah?
I would tell young people anywhere and everywhere, do the thing that you love. If you do what you love, it doesn't matter if it's baking cakes, painting houses, playing football, being a lawyer, a doctor. If you do what you love, you will do your best work. And if you do your best work, people will throw money at you to do it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter to me if you go to college, don't go to college. You should do the thing that you love.
If you were mayor right now, what's one thing you would immediately do as mayor?
You have only two obligations when you're the mayor of any town: to protect and to serve. You've got to fix your police department and enable the police department to do its job. That will never happen under a black administration. Why? Because black people do not like police. If you've got 6 out of 8 aldermen who are black, they go back to a black community that says, we don't want to live in a police state. We don't want a precinct in our neighborhood. We don't want a cop on every corner. And understandably,
Sure.
as the son of a man who used to represent poor black people for crime in Savannah, Georgia, I got news for you. To be poor and black in Savannah, Georgia, to go into court was a bad combination if you were looking for justice.
Yeah.
I understand how they feel, but the point is, it's the obligation of city government to protect and to serve. I don't have any choice but to put a police force on the street, and they've got to do their job. Now, what I would do is I would go back into that black community that rejected me and say, all right, I'll tell you what we're going to do. I want to talk to the wisdom keepers in your neighborhood.
There you go. I was going to ask, and you already led to it.
Bring
Great.
me the grandmas, bring me the old heads. We're going to sit down with your aldermen, and we are going to run this town.
Yeah.
You're not going to leave it to the mayor and city council anymore. We are going to do this together because you know who the problem is. You know who the people are who are helping. This is what we are going to do this. Yeah. But you've got to have someone like me to be the moderator of the conversation, not to talk at people or tell people. No. So what I would do is I would go into every different section of the city with the alderman and sit down with the wisdom keepers and say, okay, we're going to fix this thing.
Yeah. Because it's not that any community wants the crime to take over. I mean, this is not. It's just there's so much misunderstanding and so much tension between the groups with the historical things that have happened. So I like what you said. You can understand why. I mean, and I can too. And I think this is one of the issues where we don't necessarily slow down enough to take into consideration, why does someone feel the way they do? You know, and as much as I want to try having a biracial daughter, a black son-in-law, as much as I try to genuinely fully comprehend what it's like to be a black person in America or in Savannah, Georgia, I'm never going to fully understand. And so I love what you're saying, how you would go to the wisdom keepers and to the elderly and the leaders of the community and how can we do this? What needs to be? They don't want the crime. They want their kids to be safe on their streets. I mean, so I love that. I think that's a great direction to go. And I hope, I wish you all the best and hope that people will hear what you're wanting to do. Let's talk about the film industry, the book industry, publishing, authoring, as a peon in the publishing industry, writing, creativity, all that, you're a creator. What is what's your favorite thing about being a creator and a storyteller?
Encouraging other people to do the same thing.
Okay.
I think that everybody should write a book. Here's the reason why. Whether or not you publish it is not the point. When you die, you take your stories with you. The most valuable thing that you can leave your children, your grandchildren, your friends, your family, are your stories. And they don't have to be huge stories, I find. They just have to be your stories. And I tell people, if you don't know how to write, this is what you do. Follow me now. This is $1 million worth of advice. Go and get your box of photographs. I want you to identify every photograph. Who is this? Where are we? What's going on?
He said box of photographs. Go to your phone.
Well,
Both.
well done. Well done. Well done. But the point I'm making to you is every picture tells a story.
Yeah.
Because if you die without having done that, people are going to look at the box of photographs. They won't mean anything to them. They won't know who this is. So the thing is that I tell people, if you can tell me one good story, all I want you to do is this. Write it down, start to finish, then stop.
Yeah.
Stop, and then put that in a box. And the next time you feel like writing, or a story comes to mind, just write that one story, put it in the box. Mm-hmm. After a while, you go back to the box, and you've got 6 or 7 of these, you put them on the table. And then you start moving them around, and all of a sudden now you've got the framework, the skeleton of a book. Yeah. And all you have to do at that point is build a bridge from one to the other, and that's a book.
There you go.
That's how you write it. You don't write a book by starting chapter 1, page 1. I was born in 1953. No, nobody cares when you were born. They want you to get to the hot part. For example, when I was writing Jerry Lee Lewis's life story, my editor, my publisher said to me, no. Tell us the part where he marries his 13-year-old cousin. Forget everything else. Forget Great Balls of Fire, a whole lot of shaking. That was
one page, you're done.
Why did he marry his 13-year-old cousin? And better yet, why did she marry him? Can you answer that question? Tell us that story.
Are those answers in the book?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and what's the name of that book?
Great Balls of Fire. The Uncensored Story of Jerry Lee Lewis. Her name is Jerry Lee Lewis. That's how you pronounce it. It's not Jerry Lee Lewis. If you're from Louisiana, you'd speak with the least amount of effort possible. His name is Jerry Lee Lewis.
Jerry Lee Lewis. Yeah, they do kind of run things together. It's true.
But in any event, it was my first book. It was an international bestseller. And I could invent the cure to cancer, and people still remember me as that dude.
So there's something interesting about you that I learned before we started recording, and you've started a publishing company. Yeah. Okay. Tell, if somebody, those aspiring authors out there, tell a little bit about that. You know why
I started a publishing company in Savannah, Georgia?
No.
Because when I was running around town trying to sell my book of Savannah stories, typical Savannah to say, I'm not going to read your book. Why? I could tell you better stories. And there were dozens of people who would say to me, I want to write a book. I said, well, do it. Well, I don't know how. I said, well, I'll help you. I started a publishing company simply to publish the books of Savannahians who looked at me and said, yeah, to hell with you. I can do better than you. I said, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
I'll publish your book. You're going to have to sell it. I published 20 books for people who thought, what I did was so easy, they could do it too. And I think you should.
Yeah.
And that's why I started a publishing company, was to encourage everybody. Yeah. You got a book in you? Let's do it. And some of them became some of the best sellers in Savannah, Georgia.
Name one.
Haunted Savannah. It is
I know about this.
It's a ghost guide.
Yeah.
That was a SCAD student named Jamie Caskey who was conducting a ghost tour in the evenings. And he said to me, I think I can get people to pay for the information twice by doing a guide.
Yeah.
He said, but I don't have any money. Yeah. He said, I don't even know how to. I said, I'll tell you what, Jamie, I think you're a great writer. You bring it to me. Well, he brought me the book, and I started a company just to publish Jamie Caskey's book, Haunted Savannah, still in print today.
Cool.
And it was people like that I would run into, and here's the reason why. You're going to laugh at me when I tell you this, because you're an author. I couldn't give away my book of Savannah stories in Savannah, because I told you Savannah said, "To hell with you and your stories. We ain't gonna read that book." So I went down to River Street to a place called True Grits that sold T-shirts to tourists, and I asked them if I could do a book signing.
Yeah.
Because I've got 5,000 copies at home sitting in a box that I can't give away. Because when I put them on the shelves,
This makes me feel so good to hear this from you.
people pick up my book and they look at that. So my wife says to me, you said that if you published it, we could sell it. So I go down to True Grits and I said, "Can I please do a book signing here on Saturday?" And they said, "Sure." So I sat behind a little card table, signed book signing today, and I sat there from 10 in the morning to 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I sold a dozen books.
Yeah.
And I went home and I said to my wife, I sold a dozen books today. She said, "Great." She said, "What are you going to do tomorrow?" And I went, "Go back there." She goes, "Attaboy." I go back to True Grits. I said to the management, I said, "I'd like to come back and do this again." They said, "Sure."
Yeah.
Because I'm giving them 40% off the top.
Okay.
I'm paying them with my money.
Yeah.
I did a book signing every day, 7 days a week, for 5 years.
Wow. That's a lot.
I was making $100,000 a year on River Street selling my books to tourists.
Wow.
But I couldn't sell them any other way.
Yeah.
So that's why I say to you,
Wow.
getting a book published is one thing, selling it is another. But that's what I had to do in Savannah, Georgia, because Savannah, Georgia said, "The hell with you and your book. The hell with you and your granddaddy." So I couldn't
He's
give
not
the
bitter at all.
I couldn't give the book away. But the thing is that tourists, and now follow me now, not only would tourists come and I'd sell a dozen books a day, but I had a number of people come up to me and say, "I'm working on a book." I said, "Well, you know what?
I get this all the
Send it
time
to
too,
me.
same. And it's like,
Send it to me."
yeah, it's not as hard as you would think, and it's not as expensive as you would think either. But if you are self-publishing, you have to hustle your ass off. Like you got to put yourself out there in some of the most awkward situations, and you're going to get a lot. Well, I've gotten a lot of rejections,
But can I tell you that simply by doing this, you know what happened? I ended up in documentaries, on TV shows.
Yeah.
I was asked to participate in another book. I'll never forget the day. It was in the dead of winter. There weren't 3 people on River Street. I'm sitting there in an empty store, and a man comes up to me. He says, "I feel sorry for you."
Wow.
He said, "I'm an author. I know what it's like to do a book signing and nobody shows up." I said, "Don't feel sorry for me, mister. I love what I do. I'm in Savannah. The river's right out the door. I'm at home. I'm loving what I'm doing." He says, I said, "Well, what did you write?" He said, "Oh, I wrote a big book about the Holocaust." I said, "That must have been a lot of laughs." He goes, "I beg your pardon." I said, Come on. I'm Jewish. You're Jewish. We're all Jewish." He said, "Yeah, well," he said, I'm working on another book right now about George Harrison, the Beatle, about his spiritual journey. He said, "I used to be Hare Krishna." He said, I worked with George when George got interested in Indian music." He said, "I'm writing a book about George's spirituality." I said, "Well, it just so happens that I was George's tour photographer on his only solo tour in the United States in '74. He goes, "Wait, you're Murray Silver?" I said, "I'm that Murray Silver." He said, You were on the tour?" I said, "Yes." He goes, "I've been trying to find you. I want to interview you."
Wow.
I became the last chapter to the book, Here Comes the Sun, The Spiritual Journey of George Harrison by Joshua Green, and my photograph is on the cover.
Wow.
But it was only by sitting there day after day after day.
So much.
So my point to you is this. You have no idea what life will deliver to you if you put yourself in a position to be found.
Yeah.
As a
That's
writer,
key.
if you're at home writing and you never leave the house,
Yeah.
no, you've got to put yourself in a position for people to find you.
100%. And you have to really, one of the guests I had on my show, Mahmoud Almsha, he is from Jordan. He's a Palestinian Jordan guy. He came here on his own. I can't remember how old he was. I want to say 5 years or so ago. And I think he had like $5,000 and just really has started, something for himself and building something for himself. But the quote that he said that just really landed hard was, get uncomfortable. And many of the guests who come on the show, they will say something that sticks. We have what's called Guest Legacy Collective, where if the guest says something and it sticks, it'll go on merchandise, and then 10% of those sales will go towards their nonprofit of choice. Anyway, his was get uncomfortable. And I can't agree with that more. Like, doing this journey, like, it's not easy. Like, it's not easy going out in front of complete strangers and trying to sell yourself and trying to, sell your story.
It's not supposed to be easy, but it's supposed to be fun.
Exactly, so much, yes.
If you're not enjoying this, you're doing the wrong thing.
You're in the wrong line, yes, exactly.
You're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah. I love what you said earlier, too, when you were talking about when I asked you what's the advice you would give young people today. And this is also something that I'm really trying to live by. I don't want to spend the rest of my however much life I have left working my ass off, being miserable, making someone else wealthy, and I don't enjoy what I do. Life is too short. Like, I want to do the things that fulfill me and that bring, that I feel like I'm giving back to community. And I feel like this is really a summation of your life. Everything that you've shared today, whether it's received this way or not, you're always giving back. You're trying to find a way to give back. And I think this is so important.
Idea. Not once have I told you about me.
Right.
I describe myself in terms of other people.
Yeah.
I am Jerry Lee Lewis's biographer. I'm Elvis Presley's biographer. I was Coretta Scott King's speechwriter. I was Murray Silver Sr.'s law assistant. I always describe myself I was a candidate for mayor of Savannah, your servant. My point is, I describe myself in terms of other people. I don't say, well, I did this, I did that. No. It's all about service.
Yeah.
Who are you going to serve? What are you going to serve? So it's not about me. And that's why when I wrote my memoir, When Elvis Meets the Dalai Lama, it's simply my favorite stories. But you won't find out anything about me in there.
Yeah.
What you'll find out is, what is it like to meet the Dalai Lama and work for him? What's it like to meet Coretta Scott King and work for him? What was it like to work for Jerry Lee Lewis for 10 years and to have a book made into a movie? It's not about me. It's about the people I encountered and the life I have lived, because nothing I ever planned in life worked out for me. Mm-hmm. All of the things that I succeeded at came and got me from out of the blue. I did not set out in life to work for the Dalai Lama, but I met Richard Gere once, and I went to talk to Richard Gere about making a movie, because at the time, nobody knew who Richard Gere was. He didn't have a job, and I went to New York to see him in 1988. He had made Officer and a Gentleman, had not yet made Pretty Woman, so he wasn't the big star. He wasn't Richard Gere. I go to New York to talk to him about this movie because I'm the hot hand at the moment. Great Balls of Fire is being made into a movie in Memphis. I go see Richard Gere, and I'm trying to pitch him on the movie. And at the end of the day, he said, "Listen, I'm sorry, I got to cut it short. I've got a meeting with the Dalai Lama." I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, I've been studying Tibetan Buddhism, and I don't have anything else to do." He said, "Would you like to meet the Dalai Lama?" Because in 1988, most people did not know who he was.
Exactly.
Because he had not yet won the Nobel Peace Prize. Most people in this country did not know who he was and didn't care. And when Richard said, "Would you like to?" I said,
"Yeah."
I met the Dalai Lama. It changed my life.
Wow.
But I met him through Richard Gere. I had gone to talk to Richard Gere about a movie. I came home having met the Dalai Lama.
Wow.
My life was never the same.
Yeah.
That is the point I'm trying to make to you. Life is what happens to you. Everything. Look, I went to law school for 4 years. I never practiced law.
Yeah.
Anything I ever planned in life didn't work out for me. It's as if I had no idea what I was doing until something would come on and say, that's me. Yeah. That's the real me over here. And my father was kind enough and loving enough to say,
"Do it.
You have to be true to yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have to be true to yourself."
so beautiful that your father was so supportive and encouraging.
No. My father did, and I did not speak the last year of his life.
Really?
My father was tremendously disappointed in me.
What?
Because I had not followed in his footsteps.
So he wasn't
My
encouraging
father,
you to go out and do it?
Oh, he did. But my father always thought that I should have come back to the practice of law because he said you would have been.
Come on. So he's thinking you're going to go out and you're going to return.
Because I'm Murray Silver Jr. I was created in his image. I grew up under his tutorship. I worked at his firm. My father expected to hand his law firm over to his two sons. And when I didn't take it, it broke his heart. He never sang until the end of his life.
So when you went off and did your thing, you were thinking he was supporting you.
Oh, he was thrilled. He was so thrilled that he would tell people that he wrote the book Great Balls of Fire. Because I had the name Murray Silver on the cover, and he had a copy in his law firm, and people look at the book for the. He said, "Yeah, I wrote that."
What?
He wasn't just a proud father. He said, "Yeah, I wrote that." My father. He had to know my father. But in any event,
wow.
At the end of his life, my mother had Alzheimer's, and my parents, they went broke. My mother's care. She had nurses around the clock, and my father refused to go into assisted living. My father ran out of money. He sent me a letter. And in the letter, he'd gone back through my entire life. And he recounted all the things he had done for me and what it had cost him. And he totaled up the amounts and he demanded his money back.
What?
Yes, he wanted his money back.
Oh.
My father thought that I had been a tremendous failure in life. And then no matter what I'd done, my father thought that I had... And he demanded his money back. And so, no, my father was proud of me until he wasn't proud of me. But in the end, my father was tremendously disappointed. And you know, when I ran for mayor and lost, my father was little to no help to me. And so, all I can say.
Well, that was a drastic turn from thinking that he was so supportive, but you pushed on though. You pushed through.
Life is never what you think it is.
That's true. That's very true.
You know why? Because we're living it, and you know, so you have no idea what I'm going to say or do in the next minute.
Yeah.
We're sitting here and now.
Yeah.
You have no idea. Well, that's the way your entire life is.
Yeah.
When you walk out of here, you don't know where you're going.
Right.
You don't know what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And by the end of the day, look at the possibilities.
Yeah.
Well, my secret to life now is to be here and now. I don't have a watch. I don't live by the clock of the calendar. I'm focused on you. I'm talking to you. And when we're done, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
But my point is, you stay in the now.
Yeah.
That is how you experience this lifetime.
I love that so much. This is something I've really been trying to push, is with the social media and technology and all the things. People will text and they'll call, and one of the first things I do is, let's go meet for coffee. My phone goes on do not disturb and it gets put away, and we're doing this, you know? And so it's, there's just, you cannot replace, no matter how good technology gets, you cannot replace the being present with the people in front of you.
Can I tell you a secret that all really successful people have in common? The ones that I've met?
Yeah.
I'm talking about billionaires now.
Do it.
Billionaire with a B. The most successful.
You want to be a billionaire.
The most successful people I know do not carry cell phones.
There you go.
Because most people have turned into bed-rotting doom scrollers.
Yeah.
It's what ended my last marriage. My wife literally sat in bed and did nothing but scroll the internet.
Yeah.
And this generation right now, it is stunning to me. It's replaced television. And I remember after meeting the Dalai Lama, one of the first things I did was I went home and I killed my TV. I got rid of it. Why? Because the Dalai Lama said to me, it's the television's job to make you watch it.
Right.
He said, but look how much time you waste doing that.
So much.
He said, turn off the TV and you'll get back 20% of your life.
So much.
I haven't owned a TV since 1988.
Yeah.
And I don't carry a cell phone.
Yeah.
Because it robs you of your existence.
I still carry a cell phone, but
You
we got
have
rid
to
of
for
the
business.
we got rid of the
But
television
you
in
don't-
2012.
You don't entertain yourself on the phone.
Yeah.
Or you shouldn't. is my point, because that's what's
And,
happened.
you know, this is one of the things that's so frustrating is right now, like, to promote and do business, you have to be on the thing. And it's like this love-hate relationship.
don't.
You know what? Tell me.
No. It still comes down to this.
Well, no, yeah.
No, it still comes down to this. You've got to be talking to people in person. Business has to be done in a business-like fashion.
Yeah.
You can't do it over. My father,
No,
the first rule my father told me when I was 17 years old, back in 1970, my father said to me, you don't do business on the phone.
Yeah.
You got to be talking to people face to face, son.
So much, yeah. And it's, especially if it's like when I meet somebody new, if we got connected on technology, again, it's very quickly, I'm like, let's meet in person. And if there's distance between us, I'm like, let's figure out how. One way or the other. The one thing I like about technology, if for some reason you cannot physically meet, let's move off of the text and let's move off of a phone call and let's get the video call going. I think it's the next best thing if you can't meet physically, but I always prefer this so much. And it's just, you learn so much, and there's so much richness in being with another human being and present and engaged in what is happening and what's going on, and you can fill their cup, they can fill yours.
But look how nefarious this one. Do you know how many times I've seen people sitting in a coffee shop with their other, and they're texting each other, and they're sitting next to each other because they have forgotten how to converse.
Yeah.
People have lost the art of conversation.
You are not wrong. Let me tell you, the dating it's so, like, if you are trying to date in this day and age, and in my generation, my age group, like, the art of conversation is deceased. It is expired. I don't understand what's going on. It's like, hey, how's it going? Like, if this is all you have, we're done.
Dating sites, filtered photographs, and a bullshit resume. You meet the person and go, what?
This is not what I...
Who the hell are you? Where is this person?
So much. So we've talked about so many things, Murray.
Yes.
And this is the purpose of an organic conversation, is it flows the way that it should.
Spirit is the thing that I find in a conversation.
Yeah.
Spirit directs where it's going to go. And the best conversation I've ever had, spirit is always a main component. It's the spirit that runs through it.
Yeah.
And so if I am having a conversation with someone, if the subject of spirit does not arise in the first 5 minutes, we won't be talking 10 minutes from now.
Yeah.
To me, because we are spiritual beings having a human experience.
So much.
We're not humans having a spiritual experience. No. We are spirit. And I think there's a rising number of people who are ascending towards this fourth and fifth dimension that they keep talking about. And I'm encouraged by that. There's not enough people, but there's some. And so to me, what it's all about right now is this desire for people to ascend vibrationally and spiritually.
Yeah.
That's where they want to make the connection.
Yeah.
That is the thing that will save society, Savannah, mankind.
Yeah.
Is this, and if spirit doesn't show up, then you and I are not going to be friends. We are not going to be talking anymore.
Yeah, there has to be the connection and the depth, and there has to be the engagement.
So, to bring it all home, do you know why Savannah, why 14 million people come through Savannah a year? A town of 148,000. 14 million tourists come to Savannah every year in search of spirit. They're looking for ghosts.
This is not wrong.
Now, here's the thing.
Yeah.
And I know an awful lot I know more about it than I should. I'm also the guy that was on Ghost Adventures with Zach Bagans, the Moon River Brewery episode, which is after 25 years still one of the top 10 most viewed. That's me. I know too much about ghosts. You don't want, no, I don't. No, we're not going to talk about ghosts today. But my point is this.
We should have talked about ghosts.
Savannah is extremely haunted.
Yeah.
And for good reason. It has been a battlefield in every war ever fought on American soil.
Good point, yeah.
And all of downtown is battlefield and cemetery. Town is extremely haunted. We have the only police department in America that has its own Ghostbuster unit.
Stop. I didn't know this.
No, if you call the police and you've got a problem, they won't think you're crazy. They will send a detective to see what your problem is. No. It was started by my friend Ray Woodbury, who was a detective 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And at a time, I was doing a lot of cleansings of environments for people.
What?
You remember the granddad I told you about who committed suicide?
Yeah.
Well, he haunts the hotel where he died.
Okay.
An awful lot of people have encountered him. And I was so troubled that my grandfather did not rest in peace. I wanted to find a way to help him. And the hotel knew what I was doing. And people around town heard about it. And then people around town say, when you're done with your granddad, would you help me with mine?
What?
Because he's haunting my house.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing from some of the most prominent people in Savannah, Georgia, about their problems with hauntings. And some of them were exorcist level.
Wow.
So, people are coming to Savannah, Georgia in search of spirit. Why? Because it's not ghosts that they're looking for. They're trying to get in touch with their own spirit.
Yeah.
This is an entry level, because ghosts are actually, it's a low level thing. It's a terrible hobby. Nothing good can come of it, this ghost hunting stuff. But the point is that people are trying to get in touch with their own spirit. And that is why they're interested in the subject matter. And millions of people come there. There's 50 different companies downtown that do ghost tours. I can produce ghosts on demand in Savannah, Georgia. I'm not proud of that fact. But the point is that's what drives a lot of people to it. It's spirit. It's spirit that it's so very, very heavy in Savannah. And that's one of Savannah's problems. It's a very negative energy.
So much. I used to describe.
Do you know what the Dalai Lama's monk said to me every time I bring the monks here all the time to do cleansings for the city.
Okay.
The whole city.
Yeah. There is a very heavy.
They come to the museum and they also go to Elizabeth's restaurant on 37th Street.
Oh yes, yeah.
Okay. The monks, these are Tibetan monks from India who come here, and as we're driving into town, they tell me that they can see a cloud over the city of negativity.
You can feel it.
There are 30,000 lost souls.
Wow.
In Savannah, and they come here to try to break up this energy. And the thing is that they can see it even before they get to the city. Yeah. And a lot of people feel it.
100%.
We've got a tremendous high degree of alcoholism, depression, suicide, illness in Savannah. There's an awful lot of stuff going on. And it's all spirit related, spirit based.
I mean, there's such a strong history of so many things in Savannah. I mean, you have the pirate industry, you have the slavery, you have the churches where the slaves were hidden. I mean, that part of the Underground Railroad. You have the racism. I mean, all the things.
Do you know how many churches there are in Savannah?
No.
Yes.
300. I don't know.
There are 600 churches in Savannah in a town of 146,000 people. That means one church for every 300 people.
Wow.
Every other person is in the church business.
Yeah.
But there's a bar across the street.
Yeah.
Savannah is, the bird girl from Midnight and Good and Evil?
Yeah.
She's like the scales of justice.
Yeah.
That's Savannah.
Yeah. I think you just summed up the whole show. This is the culture of Savannah.
Black and white, rich and poor, churches and bars. Everybody in Savannah has their favorite one of each.
Oh, you just touched some things there, probably.
That's Savannah. That's
so,
Savannah.
what would be your, what's the one last thing you want to share? What do you feel like the people who are watching, what do you think they need to hear right now?
It is my feeling that everybody is looking for home. I think that's what people are searching for. It is a spiritual quest. It's not so much a physical place. Because let me tell you something. My wife is dead now. I buried my parents 2 years ago within 90 days of each other. I'm at the stage of it's all over but the shouting. And I thought, well, maybe what I should do is pack up and move someplace like the beach at St. Augustine, or maybe move to New Orleans. And because my place in Bonaventure Cemetery is already staked out, I'm not ready to go there yet. And I thought, here's the problem with moving. I got to take me when I go. It's not like I could leave me here. So it doesn't matter where you live.
Yeah.
The point is, this is a spiritual thing now.
Yeah.
It's a spiritual thing. And what we're trying to do is set ourselves free in a way mankind has never done before. And this is the early stages. And the way it all turns out, it hangs in the balance right now. And I wish I was young enough to stick around to see how it's all resolved, but I don't think I'm going to see the end of the story. I'm going to have to die and come back again.
Oh, no. I'm just... Please don't. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I like to think this is my last go around. If you get it right, you don't have to come back.
Yeah. So this show is the whole podcast and everything Sacred Earth Journey is all about cultural stewardship.
Yeah.
In your 72 years and all of your vast experiences with intercultural relations and all the things, what's one piece of wisdom or advice that you want to share regarding cultural stewardship?
Don't forget to pass it on to the next generation.
Yeah.
What you're obligated to share it. You didn't get all of this just for you. And the idea is that this rising generation is starved for it.
So much.
For mentorship, because God knows they're not getting it out of the schools. And the churches have gone to hell.
Yeah.
So the point is that where is the younger generation supposed to learn anything?
Yeah.
And God forbid they're not getting it at home. But the thing is that it's incumbent upon the wisdom keepers, the wisdom holders, to pass it on.
Yeah.
That is your obligation.
Yeah.
No matter what your experience has been, to pass it on. I'm not trying to sign people up for the Dalai Lama. I don't care if you become a Tibetan Buddhist or not.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to be gained from studying it. From a psychological point of view, it's very healing. But I don't insist that people do that. I just think that they should have the freedom to do it.
What is the best way to show up for someone who comes from a vastly different culture than your own?
Support them without trying to change them.
Come on. So much.
Which is my complaint with a lot of the immigrants that come to America now. Mm-hmm. They don't come here for freedom. They want to come here and change it to make this country more like the one that they left. Mm-hmm. That's what I don't understand. Mm-hmm. You want to come here, why don't you want to assimilate? I mean, I don't understand. Yeah. This is what I don't understand about the Muslim community. Mm-hmm. Not only do they not want to assimilate, they want to destroy what we've got. I don't get that. I don't understand that.
That might be a different conversation for another day.
But I'm saying to you, I'm saying to you, the only thing we can be with other people, is to be supportive. Yeah. Supportive, but at the same time, have that mutual respect.
Right.
I mean, why would you want to attack someone who's trying to help you? Yeah. That's what I don't get.
Yeah. So.
But we're not there yet, and I don't know that we'll ever see it. Not in my lifetime.
Yeah.
But that's why I want to be mayor. I want to be the one, not to tell people, preach to people. I want to moderate the conversation to make sure that we have the conversation.
Sure.
Because right now we're not having the conversation.
Yeah.
It's a black town run by black people, and white people got up and left. They don't want to play anymore.
Yeah.
It's killing the town. We can't live off of tourism forever. And we've stopped making movies. Did you know more than 100 major motion pictures have been shot in Savannah, but we're not making them anymore because the movie business has gone to hell? We're not doing any more Forrest Gumps in Savannah. Mm-hmm. We ain't seen Clint Eastwood in several years now.
Yeah.
Bottom line is we ain't got that anymore. Savannah's going to have to grow the hell up. But the thing is, we've run a lot of Savannahians out of town. They cannot afford to live here.
I feel like that's a lot of places though in the U.S. now.
but when you're a 2 square mile historic district, if you run the money out, what are you to do? Yeah. What are you to do?
It's not going to be a lot.
It's not going to be a Savannah. It's not going to be a Savannah anymore. Right now, you've got an art school. Savannah College of Art and Design owns more than 100 buildings in the city. They're the largest landowner.
Wow.
But here's the thing: they are separate and apart. Don't let the name Savannah College of Art and Design fool you. It's not Savannah's art school. And the CEO and the founder, the president, Paula Wallace, has said on more than one occasion, Savannah College of Art and Design does not exist for Savannah, it exists for SCAD. They have their own police department. They are separate and apart. And for the most part, they don't pay taxes on the buildings that they own. So you've got, Savannah is a lot of things, but it's nothing what people think it is. And the Savannah that they're moving here to live in hasn't been that Savannah in 20 years.
Wow.
That Paula Dean Savannah,
Right,
oh, that's gone. That's overdone. She's not here anymore.
I used to live around the corner from her, about 5 or 10 minutes away.
When
Out
she was
on
in Wilmington?
Yeah,
Well, she sold that house.
yeah.
She's gone.
All right, well, it has been very interesting today, very inspiring in a lot of ways, and educational.
Was your time well spent?
And it's always well spent. I feel like, well, I'm not going to say always, but often it's well spent. It has been well spent today. If you have any interest and want to know more about Murray Silver, the best way you can do that is, as he told me, you can just go on Google. Are there other ways, though, that they could find you or interact with you?
If I don't run for mayor, you won't see or hear from me again.
Okay. We heard it from him.
If I don't run, I've got until next year to decide, but the thing is this, I really don't know what life holds for me now, but as I said to you, remember now, don't forget this, I always think of myself in terms of other people. But my wife is dead, my parents are dead, I'm all alone in this world except for a son who's living his own life in Austin, Texas, and I'm basically free to go.
Yeah.
I have done my share.
Yeah.
I've written my book.
Yeah.
I've done what I can.
Yeah.
So I'm free to go.
There you have it. Murray Silver is free to go.
It's been a pleasure.
Appreciate you so much.
My pleasure.
All right. Well, we travel the world unfiltered, where strangers become tribe, and global peace can truly begin at kitchen tables. Ciao.
Far out.